Recently, Ubisoft released a new DLC for Ghost Recon Wildlands for the start of the Year 2 content featuring Sam Fisher from the Splinter Cell series. Fans all got excited when they heard that Michael Ironside would be coming back to voice Sam and wanted to see if this mission would tease a new game. Although Ubisoft hyped this mission to be longer than it was, we still got a small hint that we could be getting a new game possibly very soon. Here's the ending cutscene for the mission for those who haven't seen it.
Linda, how you doing? You're looking good, real good.
It's Karen today. You look like you've clocked some miles since we last spoke.
Yeah, a few. I've heard they don't make them like me anymore. There was this other guy, though. Army infiltration. He wore a bandana or something.
I heard he finally retired.
Really?
Yep.
It's only me.
Sam,
Yeah,
you got it.
I do. I'll be delivering it personally.
Grim sent word.
About what?
Chairman of the Joint Chiefs says there's a possible empty quiver. I can get you airborne in 1 hour.
Really? You know, a guy once said, the price of success is hard work and dedication.
Sounded like you knew a thing or two.
Yeah.
It's good working with you, sir.
Can the sir, just call me Sam. Look, you're real good at what you do. You watch your six, huh? An hour, huh?
That's right.
You got any coffee?
This is Bolivia. Of course there's coffee.
Other than the Solid Snake reference, Karen mentions that Grimm contacted her about a possible empty quiver, which in military terms means the loss of a nuclear weapon. This could be setting up the plot for a new Splinter Cell game. Don't get me wrong, it's great to see Michael Ironside back voicing Sam and all, but I honestly don't understand the point of this 15-minute long mission. In my opinion, this is indeed setting up a new game. I mean, why else would they bring Michael Ironside back to voice Sam for a couple lines and be done with him? Plus, why would they end the mission with this kind of a cliffhanger unless Ubisoft add more Splinter Cell missions in their Year 2 content for Ghost Recon Wildlands, which I hope isn't how they're going to bring Splinter Cell back. I'm pretty sure me and all the other fans out there want a new game and not short missions for Ghost Recon. After the mission had been up for a couple of days, Ubisoft and Microsoft had done interviews with Michael Ironside, reprising his role as Sam Fisher. I will go ahead and play these clips now.
How does it feel to be strapping on the night vision goggles, you know, metaphorically again?
It's kind of interesting because people think of it as returning to like a cottage or a building or to a place. He's never left. I'm Sam. I'm the guy that goes where others can't.
I want to talk about how you built Sam Fisher those years ago. Give us a little insight into that creation process, because it certainly wasn't just Michael show up, read a script, you're Sam.
I turned it down. I turned it down twice. And I said, I don't want to do it. And they said, why? And I said, because there's no organic contact with the character. There's no organic truth to him. And they said, what would you do to change that? And I went, really? Do you want me to answer that? Because I don't want to offend anybody. So we sat down for a couple of days and talked about the character. And they asked me to bring some kind of an emotional base to him.
Dad?
Sarah, hi.
Where are you?
On my way home. And I think we were fairly successful in the beginning. You know, we created a character that people identified with, that spoke to people's isolation or their sense of loss or their mistrust of authority. And the morality, a lot of people say, you know, that don't know what we did with those first early games. I said the morality is correct based on a set of moral parameters I have for Sam. And people say, well, he kills people. And I say, yeah.
Just seeing the reaction to Sam coming back for Ghost Recon Wildlands, everyone is so stoked, and there's people coming out of the woodwork. I mean, is it good to feel that old excitement?
Well, Sam coming back, Sam never left. I'm here. You know, it's like, I don't know if you guys want to talk about this or not, but I got cancer, and I thought I was actually going to die. I thought 65% of not making it. I had prostate and bowel cancer and some others. And I walked away, tried to walk away and just sort of put it in good hands and just walk away. I'm quite proud of Splinter Cell. I'm quite proud of being part of something that is as much organically correct as you're allowed to be in that gaming world. I think we got the max out of that and created something. And I didn't die.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, my family feels that way.
That's what they call me.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate you taking the time.
My pleasure.
16 years ago, this actor's peak performance helped define an icon. Sam Fisher's Splinter Cell's stealthy spy master of withering one-liners.
And I am unreasonably excited to say that actor and, let's be honest, total legend Michael Ironside joins us to discuss Sam's unexpected team-up with the ghosts in Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Michael, how are you?
I'm just sort of like in awe of that introduction.
You're welcome. No, it's
Thank
true.
you very much.
Welcome to the studio. We're so thrilled to have you here at Inside Xbox.
Good to be here.
So how was it stepping back into Sam Fisher's shoes?
I never left. I am Sam Fisher.
Quite right.
You know what I mean? It's what's interesting is getting to introduce this character again to a whole new generation. There's a lot of people who have not played the earlier games because the platforms are no longer there. It's like people have never ridden camels because they're no longer there. So it's like introducing this character to a whole new generation.
Yeah.
And hopefully somebody with an essential center truth about him.
Must be great to, I mean, the fans know your voice as the voice of Sam Fisher. It must be nice to have that tie to the character, right?
It is. I don't know how many times I've told this story, but one of the first times that I was flying to Europe after the first or second game, I think it was, and I ordered a cup of tea in the airplane, and all of a sudden I heard this, Sam. And I turned around and I went, oh no, I'm Michael Ironside. And they said, Sam Fisher. And there was this man standing in his vest and his tie was undone, fairly business looking fellow. And I said, oh yeah, I am Sam Fisher. And he started to cry. He got emotional. And he said, I want to thank you for finding a way for me to communicate with my son.
Yeah,
and that was one of the first times I realized about the social kind of ethical implications of these games and stuff and how it affects people in their relationships.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful endorsement.
What makes Sam Fisher special to you? I mean, you have played countless characters over the years on television and films, and what makes Sam special to you?
It's an interesting question because games have evolved so much over the last 20 years, you know. Excuse me, when I was first approached about this character, it was about, I think, 18, 19 years ago. And I turned it down because I thought the technology and all these stuff was in the storylines, but the actual characters weren't. Sam was this very kind of one-line, two-dimensional character, and I kept turning it down. They said, why? And I said, because there's no organics to him. There's no organic. And Ubisoft was good enough. I was actually shooting something in Montreal at the time, a miniseries, and we sat down and started rewriting and trying to create what is the base. And they didn't understand, being the techno droids that they are, why you need a storyline for something that's not in the game, and a moral, ethical base that goes before the game started. So we created a backstory for him, created a family, what happened to the family. You know, why he is who he is and where he goes and what he does, and who he trusts and who he doesn't trust. And that stayed true all these years for the game. And I think that's why people identify with Sam. And if you go back through all the games, there's a through line for that organics.
Nice.
You really are Sam Fisher then, you're right. I mean,
I'm Sam Fisher. So.
Well, you've been intimately acquainted with this character for 16 years now, right?
16, actually it's more than that because we started building the game a couple of years before that.
Right, okay. So how was the process of actually being involved with the game and recording the lines and learning about the character and taking the character on that arc over those 16 or plus years?
Well, it's what I do for a living. It's, I think I've got about 300 features or something like that. The base of Sam was a character I met at a party back in the early 70s. I went to a wedding. I got to be careful here. It was a Ukrainian wedding, and I was going because I was going to be this defrocked priest who had left the ministry because he fell in love with a nun, and I was curious to meet this guy. And it was
that's a movie into itself.
72 and 73, and I was at this party, and there was a fellow there over near the holopchi and the cabbage rolls and the petahe and all the good food. And the air around him was kind of cold. I thought, there's the defrocked priest. And I went over, I said, so you fell in love with a nun and left the priesthood. And this guy turned to me and said, what are you talking about? And the air around him was absolutely cold. He turned out he was a mercenary who was in town, connected to this family, but he was in town for the death of his grandmother. And he was in those days, running shotgun as a mercenary for these flights in and out of the Congo.
Wow.
And of course, being in my budding early ages of my acting, I started in 1970, I hung on this guy like a fly all day, asking him questions. And what I got from him was an essential loneliness, an essential emptiness. We were talking earlier about it. I said, you ever been into an apartment where you're walking where somebody's living and they haven't really moved in? And you talk and there's a bit of an echo comes back. That was the sense I got from him. When you talked to him or he talked, there was this slight emptiness about him that he's desperately aware of. And that's been the base of a lot of characters, and especially Sam Fisher, is that person who's looking for something to organically fill him or to make him feel whole again. And he has a very specific moral ethical principle behind that. Whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, it's not the issue, but it's organically correct.
So you really have been holding on to that character when you met him in the early 70s for like almost 20, 25 years until you were able to really bring him out in Sam.
Well, that character I met at that wedding reception in front of the Holopchi has been the base for a lot of characters I've played. It's almost like the canvas.
Yeah.
Painting a picture, we were talking earlier again, painting a picture doesn't start by choosing the colors and the landscape. It actually starts when you build your stretcher, when you stretch the canvas, when you choose the format and the you know, that you're going to paint in. And it's the same with characters. It's that character is like the canvas that I've painted a lot of pictures on.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, he's been your foundation.
Sam owns his genetics to that meeting that day. He is not that person.
Right.
Do you think he knows that person? Do you think he might have seen Sam
I can't really
Fisher at
talk
some
about
point?
that. I actually saw him.
All right.
He's still alive in a news situation a couple of years back, and it shocked me because he's a couple of years older than me, and I thought he'd be dead by now. And he's not. He's still out there.
Just like Sam Fisher.
Well, I don't know if he's like Sam Fisher. I like to believe that Sam has a moral ethical base that is a little more correct. It's a little more loving. It's a little more familial based. He believes in what he's doing, and he wants it to be a better and safer world.
Sure. Now, you know movies and TV inside out, right? That's been your life.
It's my medium.
How important do you think voice acting is in video games, which clearly visually is a very different medium?
Boy, do you really want to ask me that question? That's kind of like a grenade. I don't see essentially anything different in voice acting, camera acting, stage acting. There's an organic base and a truth to something, and you know how you people that put together that format use it is different. I mean, I'm essentially the same if I'm doing narration on a documentary or whether I'm doing a stage play or whether I'm doing a feature film. It all has to be organically correct. For me, this is for me. And I think the more organically correct a character is, the more an audience feels safe in trusting them and allowing them to be told a story, or allowing them to drop their armor and let them be told a story.
Michael, it's such a pleasure to have you on the set.
Thank you for the voice. Thank you for everything.
Well, thank you.
Such a legend for your time. Anyway, thanks so much.
So they're talking to Ironside for coming back to voice Sam for a couple lines. It doesn't make sense to me why they would make such a big deal about him returning for something this short, but then it makes me think of a leak that appeared not too long ago at Rectify Gaming. They reported that Microsoft would have the marketing rights to Cyberpunk 2077, Battlefield 5, Anthem, Borderlands 3, a new Madden game, and a new Splinter Cell game. It would be great to see all of these games at Microsoft's conference, but is there any truth to this leak? Well, apparently Rectify Gaming has leaked things in the past and has been correct. For example, they leaked the name of Microsoft's new console, the Xbox One X, and it ended up being true. But Ryan McCaffrey over at IGN tweeted a response to this leak saying that it's false. I'm not sure if he knows what Microsoft's going to unveil at this year's E3 or if he just thinks it's false. I would take all of this with a grain of salt. The interview Microsoft did with Michael Ironside might be a hint that they might have the marketing rights to the new Splinter Cell. After both of these interviews, they seem to be hyping up something, especially in the interview when Michael says that I never left, I am Sam Fisher. To me, it seems like Ubisoft is hyping up a new game after the recent Wildlands mission and these interviews. Anyway, what do you guys think of all this? Please leave your comments down below and I'll respond to every one of them. If you guys want to watch more Splinter Cell content, go ahead and check out my last video where I talk about a possible Amazon listing for Splinter Cell 2018. link in the description. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.